Howdy, howdy, howdy. Welcome to JJ's Chess Pots or Palace. Sorry, I'm a little late tonight. Going to do some chess lessons. Probably take challenges at the end of it. See how it runs tonight. And thank you for checking out my schedule here for chess. Wizardry at 11 o'clock in the mornings. Played Proving Grounds on Monday. Played that today. And then Daphne Tuesday through Sunday. Hey, Edmund, how you doing? How you doing? Saw you in Proving Grounds today. I hope you enjoyed it. Well, I was doing that today. And then the YouTube channel. I'm doing good. Tired. I'm doing good. Tired. But getting her done. I do have to play this one move here. And this is an in-house daily, so nobody comment, please. Play fair play policy. I have already advanced into the semifinal, but I want to make sure that I don't blow this game. It's a daily. This is an in-house daily I do in the club. I'll put the club up as well, but I want to... This might be very interesting. Wow. You didn't see that. Pawn could be a problem. First, second queen, but I think I can get a mate off this pretty quick. We'll see. And let's hit that and then get out of that. Yeah, I don't want to talk about any, any actual position, but I did defeat him in the first one, and it gave me a 1.5 lead. I got a draw against the guy that beat me, who took first. Top two seeds advance, and seemed like I had a decent chance. I actually made mistakes in the two games I played against the last guy this guy I showed, and I thought I had a free pawn and. Didn't see the knight, lost the bishop right off, but I regained the lead because he made some mistakes, and he's playing legit. I mean, he's a 900, and in Fisher Random, and so I'm 1470 in USCF, but I was 1648 back in the 70s, and I actually think I'm better than I was in the 2011 when I stopped playing in USCF tournaments, and I was scheduled, like I told you the other night, for September 29th and got COVID. So I thought I could come back, and I had a draw against the guy that was 300 elo above me, and then I lost one game. He played 91% in Fisher Random. I was a little skeptical. The other situation was that for the first time in these daily in-house tournaments, I set up the daily and I tried to run them for 20 people so that there's a quarterfinal, a semifinal, and a final. And 2 players advance from each group. So there's 4 groups to start. 8 people advance, and then there's 2 groups of 4. Play simultaneously 8 games. In the initial, you play simultaneously 10 games against, well, actually it's 8 games because it's 5 players. And then you play simultaneously 6 games against 4 players. And then 2 advance from the semifinal in both. And I got a unrated 3-2. I want to take this really quick before I start tonight. I do not play blitz, so this is something I really don't play, but let's just get it going. And I kind of felt on that first game when I came back, I thought, you know, I got a shot at this. And he played strong, though. And then he just made a couple mistakes. And now when I think that I've got a mate going in before he can get that queen, so I can always sacrifice against it, I believe, but we'll see. I am giving up the free pawn here, which he didn't take. Let's see here. Not a real good blitz player, and that's why I messed up and gave him a free pawn right off the bat. I don't play it very often. I think we'll just match up head to head. Yeah. Interesting. Kind of blew that, didn't I? Well, I kind of... Yeah, that's a good move. And we'll just go over here. Yeah, this isn't what I like. Yeah. I should run here. Let's see. Might have blown this. Might have blown it. Yeah, I think I screwed up. Let's see here. Oh boy. Yeah, it's a draw. Shit. Oh well. It's a good game. GG's. JJ's.
The game ended evenly, but you had some nice moves.
$82.3 for 573.
Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen,
questionable.
often leading to knight c3.
Yeah, it was my fault. I blew that. I think I've only played 3 blitz in 6 months. Just don't play very often.
This move gives you the opportunity to win their bishop. Nice, you found a way to win a bishop. Taking that bishop will win material.
Yeah, I should have been more careful.
This is the only move that works, and you found it. That pawn chain will help strengthen your pawn structure.
I just don't think that fast anymore. I mean, I have to take my time, and that's why I really struggle with speed chess of any kind, even rapids. I run out of time. That was a good. Hey, played great. Got a draw. That was great. Yeah, I just didn't see the tactic. That probably, yeah, pull back this diagonal, let him go here, and then go there. I don't know. Now he wants to play again. I usually play one, let somebody else challenge if they do. I probably did. On move 40, I missed something. I'll have to look at it offline. Definitely played very well. Game over versus Escorto. Okay, that game is over. Let's not talk about it until the review. This was an in-house tournament that I run for my club members, JJ's Chess Sponsor Palace. Somehow 13 people that weren't club members got into this, and I don't know how. This was the first tournament that we had outside of the club players in it. Somebody must have linked it. I only play one on challenge nights. I'll play again on Wednesday, Thursday if you challenge then. I just want to keep it rolling with challenges. Different people. Let's see here. Let's go through the game review. I made a mistake right off the bat too in this.
You had a nice tactical find in this game. Let's review.
Dailies are more classical for me, so I play extremely better in dailies. And I played in the 2025 Daily Chess Championship starting December 31st. By the way, I would highly recommend this tournament. It's in the last week of December. It starts for the next year. It is similar to what you just saw with the dailies tournaments that I run here. 5 players play 4 other opponents simultaneously, 2 games apiece, white and black. Top 2 advance. In the Daily Chess Championships for chess.com, the top 1 advances, and there are 12 players, 11 other opponents. I was the 3rd seed in the first round. For my group, there were 24,760, I believe, that entered for that tournament. And it goes on all year. It's still going on. I'm not sure if it's still the 3rd round or the 4th round now. But I went 19 wins, 2 losses, and 1 draw in the first round, and I advanced. I was the top player in my group. 23,000 players got eliminated in that first round. And then in the second group, I was down on the low end. I was the 11th seed and played some really good games against 300, 400, 500 above me, but I'm a classical player, so I can take my time on the board, look at the board, and it was a fair playing field. I don't think anybody, I think everybody played straight up. There was one player that I didn't think was, I thought was a little suspect, and he got beat by 7 other people, and then he smoked me. I mean, smoked me, and I had 3 pawns to his 3 pawns, and I had a bishop, and he ended up pulling that out. Kind of similar to what you just saw, and winning. And so, and I was like shocked, but I beat the 2nd seed, the 1860 twice. The 3rd seed was their high 1700. And the top seed dropped a queen to me in the 5th move, and it was dailies. And I didn't see it, made a quick move. And I actually, my last move, I attacked his queen. And I didn't see it, and ended up losing both games against the 1900. But in the beat the 1800 2nd seed. I split with the 3rd seed. I had a loss and a draw in the 4th and 5th seeds, and then I did well in the other seeds. I ended up winning 10, but the 3rd seed dropped a bishop in the 4th move. I mean, 1700, and the 1800 did the same thing with the black bishop. I couldn't believe it. Pulled the bishop out, so I'm going to bring my bishop in front of my queen. I'm going to get his bishop off the board, and he makes another move, and they both did. And what was weird was it was like 3 minutes to 10 minutes apart when it came in on the daily. So I hit that game, and I was like, wow, he didn't even see that. And then the next game comes up, and the guy castles, and I'm like, what? And I took his bishop, and they're second and third seed in the tournament in the second round. And I held on to win. I played classical play, a lot of tournaments back in the day. And I know how to win with, an advantage like that. And in fact, when I did beat the CM live stream on September 1st here, who happened, which I didn't know, was playing in the Olympiad. And he ended up beating 2 grandmasters and got his CM 5 days later. And so Ian Matuge from Kenya, I actually had to look him up. And I got sick on September 4th, so I didn't know. And he mouse slipped on a bishop and gave me a bishop, and I offered him a draw like 3 or 4 times. There's Twitch clips, and I got YouTube clips, and I got an 8-minute video on it too. And God, the guy was a class act. He was so cool. And we talked about it, we laughed about it, and he said, play on. And I kept saying, are you sure, man? We can. It was the last game of the night that I played him. And then the next night, I'd be at 2044, and he actually moved into a one-move mate. I was playing really well on September 4th. I got sick, and I haven't played as well since. But just to go back to the 2025, I ended up 29, 10, and 5 draws. And, of course, I took 5th in the second round. I was 1 game back, and I lost to that 4th seed for 3rd place. I lost that game. That was the last game I played. I could have, if I would have won that game, I would have got 3rd. And it was a half game back out of 4th, so I thought I felt really good about it. I was these guys were way higher elo than me. Although over the board, probably not, but had a really good tournament. And I really suggest that you guys look for that this last week in December. It was a fun tournament to play. Ended up going 29, 10, and 5. I was pretty happy about it. I gained like 130 or 140 points of elo. And I was 15-25 2 years ago, and then all of a sudden had that 1 month shot where you can't win a game, and went knocked down to 1200 in dailies, and now I'm back up to 1460 or something. But because of that tournament, which is nice, back to kind of a normal elo for me. But with Ian Matuge, he was a class act. We were talking about it. It was really cool, and as the game progressed, I know how to trade down and make sure with advantage, and I just never let those 2 guys get in, 1700 or the 1800. And the 1700 came down to a knight and 6 pawns, or knight and 5 pawns to my 2 knights. And that game was really stressful, and ended up, he made a mistake. I broke through on the pawns. The way I had my knights, he couldn't get back through. Kind of had a wall there, so when he resigned, I felt really good about that one. And the other one then sacrificed a bishop, thinking that he had my rook, and he didn't, and I actually got a free bishop. And so I actually had 2 bishop lead in that, and he actually then didn't make another move and flagged. So with the Matuge game, it was an honor to play him. That was really cool that he came in and played. And then congratulations to him, of course, getting the Candidate Master. And I think that was really amazing. I mean, that's a great thing. And that's pretty cool. And I remembered at the end of the game, and I've got it on video and stuff, and I have a couple Twitch clips. You can go search for them. They're still up. 1 minute Twitch clips. There's 3 of them. But I offered the draw. I wouldn't take it. So I said, play on. Because I knew my rating on chess.com is not really, nor do I consider it a real rating, because there's a lot of cheaters. There's a lot of people who cheat, and I would never, ever cheat, ever. Plus, my dad taught me, and he passed away, man, and I respect the game, but I respect my dad, and I represent my family still, you know? And not only that, I respect myself not to pull that shit. And I know it fucks with other people, and it fucks with me at times. I don't like it. You know, I think it's crap. So what you see is what you get. And I had a good advantage. I felt really confident about it. It was probably the most stressful game I have ever played. I think it went 70 moves, if I recall right. And I feinted a situation where he possibly could, behind, get a mate with his rook and his king and left my pawn. But I knew that if he went for it, I could check with the rook, block his king out, and push my pawn and promote. And so I kind of suckered him in on that one. I felt really good about it. And then I ended up promoting and ladder mating him. And at the end, there's like 2 moves before it ended, as I was going to ladder mate him. And he said the funniest thing. He was cuffs. And I've seen him a couple times on the outside. He hasn't come in a long time, but back last year he came in a couple times. But he didn't come in to chat. And he said, hey, can I take that draw now? And I'm like, no freaking chance. This is the best game of my life. What are you freaking talking about? You ain't getting that draw, you know? And the thing would be is, playing classical as much as I did back in the day, if he asked for that draw in a tournament, I would have had to give him that draw. But he had a great sense of humor, and it was an honor to play him. That guy was a class act. I mean, I wish he'd come in and play me again. I'd like to see what would happen. He'd probably smoke me. But he was actually at the Olympiad. Had to be, it was late night my time, so it had to be early in the morning before he had games, you know. And I saw the write-up. I went and Google searched him after, and that was pretty cool. So that was probably the best game I've ever had on chess.com. I have beat a 21-46 or 64, but with that, it was one of those guys that were eventually banned for multiple accounts and stringing out games, and he came in and played me, and I thought I had a chance. I had a lot of people back then viewing, and they were waiting to challenge, and 303 moves, and I thought I was still in it, man. I was a pawn down in a queen pawn end game, and I got one of the pawns. Excuse me. So I thought I had a chance, and then no 50 move rule, no 3 repetition. And I finally just had enough and just made a bad move and got beat at 303 move mark. And then he came in again, and all of a sudden it went over 100 moves, and then I was realizing he was screwing with me. And so he had there were three other people that were doing the same thing. And this was in 2024 in like October, November. And I just got back from COVID and I was just starting to get healthy again. And I was having real bad pain in my legs, so I all of a sudden had to walk with a cane and could barely walk. And so I was dealing with that stuff, and always it was so bad that they would just fuck around. Excuse me for the words, but that's the only way I can describe it. And I'd finally played two of them and said, okay, I resign at the 100 move. I'm not going to go through this again. And one I actually had a chance. If I would have sacrificed, I would have won the game. They made a mistake. But so I was going into rated Swiss tournaments, open. And that's where I won the medals I got in 1510s. And 1510 is my preferred time control on here, but it's really slow, for challenges and stuff. And so I won a few medals in that, and never won a gold. I won a gold in my last in-house tournament, and that's the first time I've ever had a gold, and that was the 6th in-house tournament. But that was a daily, 24-hour daily, which is something I like to play. And but I had a bunch of silvers and some bronze in the open. And I was beating 19, 18, 1700s, 1500s, and again, get crushed in challenges, over the board from people outside Twitch coming in and challenging me in a rated game and just smoking me, 200s, playing 97%, stuff like that. So with that, I went in one of the last times I played in a rated Swiss tournament because it was just getting crazy. These new accounts were just taking over. They were already 2,700 in an hour, 2,400 in an hour. And I match up with the dude. These guys would follow me in. I put my link up for people on Twitch if they wanted to follow. And they would actually follow me in and play in that arena, or in that Swiss tournament. And so I matched up with the guy. And he was 2146, and I knew who he was. And I made a mistake in the opening, and actually it was in the early mid-game, and I hung my rook to a knight. I was down. But all of a sudden I saw an open, and I had my queen, and I saw a chance that I might have a mate. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I was going check, and I was rocking it, and I was playing too fast, and I moved my queen right next to his king and dropped it. Lost my queen, just boom, and it was over. And then, so I thought I'll play it a couple moves, and then as soon as he starts to mate me, I'll do that. But then he started messing around, just like he normally did against me. And usually I was even with him when he was doing that. This time I wasn't. I was getting killed. And it was a tournament, so I thought, I'll hold on. So he had 4 pawns. He had a rook and one queen, and actually 3 pawns and a queen and a rook. So he started promoting them. And so I went to the H-file. I was playing black, and I was going up and down the H-file, and he could mate me at any time. And I was watching his time click down, and I was like, all right. And I figured he was going to wait till the last, half a second, do it. And he promoted that last queen, and so he's 41 points of material up on me. And he checks me with the rook. And if I move in side, I made it on the next move. If I move outside, I block him from mating me, and I moved up instead, which he didn't expect. And he flagged. So, insufficient material, right? Cool, I get a draw, right? I had a pawn on h6. He never took it. So not only did he flag, but he lost because I had a pawn on the board. Never would have been able to promote it. My chat went freaking nuts. Everybody in chat was going crazy. They were like, there it is. I mean, it was brutal. I even put a video up on it. I mean, there's a video and a short on it. And there's a Twitch clip about that went down. But yeah, he screwed around. Could have took the h6 pawn at any time. And he flagged and he lost. And that was the last I saw of him. That I know of. But shouldn't have won that game. But that, because the Ian Matuge was unrated, and same with the 2044 was unrated, because I would take unrated challenges, obviously 1510s back then. They don't count on chess.com. But the 2164 or 46 or whatever he is, that's my highest win. And I was 41 points down in material. And to me, I hate to say it, I usually, don't, I mean, good game, but kind of deserved it. I hate to say that he deserved it, but man, oh man, that was a rough time for me physically and being sick and everything, and to do that and then just screw around. And I kept saying in the video live stream, and people were watching it, go, this guy screws around, I'm not gonna resign right now. I'm not gonna resign. And sure enough, I got a win out of that, which is crazy. 41 points down in material. How many times have you guys done that? Is that crazy? Against the 2146. So anyway, we're going to go to chess lessons today. I want to start doing these, and I do want to get my tabs clipped out here. I did take that Blitz challenge. And the reason I'm doing them, I really want to get the advanced done, and I think they're really informative. The other thing is, this is a reason why to get the membership if you haven't considered getting a membership to chess.com. These lessons are really good. Now, I did the beginning and the intermediate a long time ago and just stopped. And, it's been, 3 years or so? And then I started doing puzzles. I got to the 2100 badge in puzzles, and I stopped and started doing puzzles 2 months ago, and I'll be doing puzzles on maybe tonight, but probably Wednesday, Thursday, like I always do. And just started doing them in the last 2 months and moved it up to 3,000 rating in puzzles. But I thought, I need to get this advanced lessons done because there's stuff that I don't know or should know, and I probably don't see it. So this is why I'm showing it, and I really think it's important. These lessons are really cool, and they are worth it on chess.com, and that's why I show it. So bear with me, guys. We'll go through these lessons, do a few of them tonight, and then I'll take some more challenges. Thank you all for coming in. Appreciate it. So here's a lesson.
D4 is the second most popular way to start the game. One of the main openings after D4 is the Queen's Gambit, which goes D4, D5, C4, E6, or C6.
So basically, these video lessons. You can play these as a member. I think you get one at least as a non-member, just to check them out. But I think they're valid, and I really like them. They were doing power pawns last week, and that was really cool. And now they're starting to do openings, so I really want to watch these. So I'm just going to do these lessons, and then I'll do the 5 challenges. Please don't help. I'm going to fail on my own. And Queen's Gambit's not my favorite. I always decline it. It can rock my world. I have trouble with it at times. So here we go.
D4 is White's most popular alternative to E4 games. Although typically not as fast-paced as many E4 openings, D4 is a rich opening move with many positional and attacking ideas. Let's take a look at some of the most common openings after D4. After D4, White is ready to play E4 on the next turn, so Black's most solid defense is preventing this idea with D5. White will sometimes play moves like Bishop F4, known as the London system, but White's most direct and popular plan is to put pressure on D5 right away with C4. This opening is known as the Queen's Gambit. White wants to remove Black's pawn on D5 so that White can play E4 and gain more space in the center. Black's 2 most popular responses to the Queen's Gambit defend the D5 pawn with either E6 or C6. But sometimes
C6.
Black captures the pawn with D takes C4, known as the Queen's Gambit accepted. Black typically does not get a good position by trying to hold on to the extra pawn on C4, but the main idea behind giving up the center is to open up the D file to place pressure on D4. White will usually take over the center with E4, planning on rapid development and trying to prevent Black from comfortably developing. Giving up the center is usually a risky decision, so Black more often protects the D5 pawn with one of the next 2 opening ideas. When Black plays C6, this opening is known as the Slav defense. Black protects the D5 pawn, so if White captures on D5, Black can recapture with a pawn and still control the center. After knight to F3 and knight to F6, White usually plays knight to C3. Black has a choice to make the opening a Slav or a semi-Slav defense. How do we know which opening is which? The Slav defense is when Black develops the light-squared bishop before playing the move E6.
Exactly.
The semi-Slav defense is when Black keeps the bishop on C8 and plays E6.
Right.
If Black wants to play the Slav defense, which means developing the light-squared bishop before playing E6, Black should play D takes C4. If Black plays bishop F5 immediately, White has the tricky C takes D5. And after C takes D5, White now plays queen to B3. Notice that White's queen attacks B7 and adds a second attacker to the D5 pawn. Black can play B6, but this weakens light squares in Black's territory. Black could retreat the light-squared bishop back to C8, maybe Black's best choice, or try queen to B6, protecting the B7 pawn and attacking White's queen. White can win a pawn after knight takes D5. And if Black trades queens with queen takes B3, hoping that White will immediately capture the queen and then lose the knight
Knight
at
takes knight
D5,
check.
White has the very nice in-between move, knight to F6 check. And White has won a pawn after all of the trades. This explains why Black plays D takes C4 first. Black captures the pawn and is threatening to hold on to the pawn with B5. So White typically plays A4, preventing B5. White is ready to play E4 and take over the center, so Black will play bishop to F5, developing the bishop toward the center and protecting the E4 square. This is the main line of the Slav defense. White will often play E3, protecting the D4 pawn and preparing to recapture Black's pawn on C4 with the light-squared bishop. Both sides will focus on completing development and castling. If Black does not play the Slav defense by developing the light-squared bishop before playing E6, Black's other main idea is to play the semi-Slav defense with e6.
I've done this too.
Black builds a very solid structure in which both e6 and c6 protect the d5 pawn.
Cut up my bishop,
Black
but I
can play
want to
solid
move it to
developing moves
b7.
aimed at controlling the center, such as knight b to d7 and bishop to d6. White can play the slow but solid e3, adding protection to the center and protecting the c4 pawn. But this move does block the dark squared bishop. Or white can play the more aggressive bishop to g5, pinning black's knight and placing pressure on the center. Black can play the solid bishop to e7, unpinning the knight, or challenge white by playing d takes c4, surrendering the center but trying to keep a pawn after e4 and b5. Play becomes incredibly sharp after e5, attacking the pinned knight on f6. Black fights back with h6, counterattacking white's bishop, which is pinning the knight. After bishop to h4, black plays g5, breaking the pin on the f6 knight. Incredible complications follow, where both sides must know exactly what they are doing to avoid entering a bad or losing position. The other popular option to defend the d5 pawn is by playing e6. This is known as the Queen's Gambit declined. Black protects d5 with a pawn, securing black's control of the center. The only drawback is that the light-squared bishop on c8 will have issues developing. After knight to c3 and knight to f6, both sides develop knights toward the center and focus on the d5 and e4 squares. White now has a couple of options. Sometimes white plays knight to f3 and bishop to f4, placing pressure on c7 as well as the queen side in general. The more traditional move is bishop to g5, developing a piece and pinning the knight to the queen. Black plays bishop to e7, unpinning the knight and preparing to castle. One common line of play is e3. White controls the center and prepares to complete kingside development, and after castles, unlike e4, e5 openings, when white's light-squared bishop often moves to c4 to enjoy the open diagonal pointing toward black's castled king, notice in d4, d5 openings, that diagonal is blocked by the d5 pawn. Can you see a more active diagonal for white's light-squared bishop? That's right, the b1 to h7 diagonal. White will plan on developing the bishop to d3, move the knight to f3, and castle. Black, on the other hand, has to decide what to do with the light-squared bishop. A popular plan for black is to play b6, planning to develop the bishop to b7 and protect the pawn on d5 and help control the center. The Queen's Gambit declined is a safety-first opening where black builds a strong center around the d5 square and tries to prevent white from favorably opening up the center with e4. After exploring the main ideas behind d4, d5, let's go to the challenges.
Okay, here we go. Here we go. Let's play white's most popular opening after d4, d5. Okay, I'm white. I used to play black against this. I've never played the Queen's Gambit. I played it maybe a handful of times.
Excellent. White puts pressure on d5, and black decides to capture the c4 pawn, known as the Queen's Gambit accepted. What is white's best pawn move to deal with this opening? Great job. White takes over the center and is prepared to regain the pawn with bishop takes c4. Black has to be very careful to avoid a bad position. Black defends d5 with c6, turning the game into a Slav or semi-Slav defense. Let's develop a knight toward the center. Great job. This is also a strong developing move. Let's develop the other knight toward the center.
Oops.
Black defends d5 with c6. Great job. Black also develops a knight into the center. Let's bring our other knight into action and attack black's pawn on d5. Excellent work. White actively develops both knights into the center. Black decides to turn the game into the Slav defense with d takes c.
Huh? What? Oh, it's next. Sorry.
What happens if black plays bishop f5? Let's capture black's pawn on d5 to understand how white can punish this move. Great job. Black recaptures with a pawn, as otherwise black gives up control of the center. Can you find a powerful queen move? Powerful play. White attacks both black's unprotected b7 pawn and the d5 pawn. Great move. White captures a pawn, so fantastic in-between move. White captures black's knight with check, so now we can be up a pawn. White is up a pawn with a great position, which is why black typically avoids bishop f5. Let's return to the Slav defense after d takes c4. Can you find a strong pawn move that prevents black from comfortably playing b5? Excellent job. White prevents b5. Black moves the bishop to the excellent f5 square. How can white prepare to regain the c4 pawn and continue to develop? Nice move. White prepares bishop takes c4 and castling kingside. Both sides will focus on completing development with an interesting game to follow. D takes c allows the Slav defense. Do you remember which pawn move turns the game into a semi-Slav defense?
I play these both, so
Nice work.
I should know
Black can
these.
play solidly with a move like knight b d7, or play the ultra-sharp d takes c4. Let's play a solid move that unpins our knight on f6 and prepares to castle king. Excellent. This safe, solid move turns the position into a queen's gambit declined and avoids the incredible complexity of the semi-Slav mainline d takes c4. Not a bad choice when you're just learning openings. We are in the main line of the queen's gambit decline. Let's castle kingside and learn the main ideas in this position. Black castles kingside with a solid position. Let's put the question to the bishop and attack white's dark-squared bishop with a pawn. Nice move. Black gains a tempo against white's bishop and creates an escape square for the king if needed on h7. How can we prepare to develop our light-squared bishop on the h1, a8 diagonal? Great job. Black opens the diagonal so black's light-squared bishop can help control the center from the h1. Great job. Black's light-squared bishop finds an active role on the h1,
I like
a8
these
diagonal,
lessons, I really
helping
do.
control the center. Black's main plan is to play knight b d7, followed by preparing c5, adding more pressure to white's center.
And they're starting to go into openings, and specific openings, and I think that's really cool. And so I'm going to continue to do these tonight for a while. Thank you all for coming in. I appreciate you guys. Let's see what we got. The Dutch. I do not know this one. Most popular response to d4 is knight f6, which develops and prevents white from playing e4. Yeah, I wonder if there's going to be more advanced stuff. I'm kind of halfway through the advanced. Not sure. Okay, let's go to this. I've never played
After
the Dutch.
d4, black's most common defense is d5. Let's take a look at some popular alternatives for black. Black does not always play d5. Another way to prevent white's plan of playing e4 on the next turn is knight to f6. White still wants to play c4, controlling more space in the center before playing knight to c3. After e6, white plays knight to c3, threatening to play e4 on the next turn. Black can now play bishop to b4, pinning the knight to the king so it cannot support e4. After bishop to b4, This opening is known as the Nimzo-Indian defense.
Oh, wow.
Notice after only 3 moves, black is ready to castle. White often plays e3, preparing to play bishop to d3 and e4. One way for black to continue is with b6, so that after bishop d3, black can play bishop to b7, adding another defender to the e4 square and threatening the unprotected g2 pawn. After knight to f3, both sides typically castle. Now that the knight on c3 is unpinned and can help control the center, black usually plays bishop takes c3. And after b takes c3, black doubles white's pawns on the c-file, but also gives white the 2 bishops. Black will enjoy a positional advantage with the better pawn structure, while white will try to open up the position and attack with the 2 bishops. So both sides have good reasons to look forward to the middle game battle. Another way for white to play against the Nimzo-Indian is with queen to c2, protecting the knight, which prevents black from doubling white's pawns on the c-file. Notice that the queen also supports e4, so one common idea for black is to play d5. Black gains a fair share of the center and makes it difficult for white to safely play the move e4. Play can be similar to the queen's gambit declined. Sometimes, black does not prevent white from gaining more space in the center with e4. After g6, black fianchettos the bishop to g7 and plans on counterattacking white's large center. After knight to c3 and bishop to g7, this opening is known as the King's Indian defense. Black builds up a solid defense for black's king once it castles kingside, and notice that the bishop on g7 is already pointing at the d4 square. Black will aim to attack this pawn, as we will see. After e4 and d6, black prevents white from gaining too much space with e5, and also prepares to play e5 once black castles. After knight to f3, castles, and bishop to e2, black can play knight b to d7, preparing to play e5. After white castles, black strikes in the center with e5. This is black's main counterattacking strategy in the King's Indian. Black is ready to capture on d4, which will strengthen the dark-squared bishop's ability to attack on that diagonal. If white grabs more space with the typical d5, notice that once the pawn on d4 moves, the c5 square is no longer protected. Black can take advantage of the space left behind with knight to c5, joining the other knight in attacking e4. After queen to c2, developing the queen and protecting e4, we can see the main ideas of the King's Indian. White has more space and will try to grab more queenside space with b4. Black often will try to slow white down by playing a5, but black's main idea is to attack white's center with c6, and once the knight moves from f6, play f5, attacking the e4 square and setting up a kingside attack. Another opening similar to the King's Indian in allowing white to play e4 is the Gruenfeld defense. The Gruenfeld starts after black plays d5, attacking white's c4 pawn and allowing white to take over the center with c takes d5, knight takes d5, and e4. Why does black allow white to take over the center so easily? Like the Nimzo-Indian, black is going to create a pawn weakness after knight takes c3 and b takes c3. Although the c3 pawn protects d4, it is also a weakness because it can only be defended by pieces and not pawns. This will become a target for black. After bishop to g7, black's bishop lines up with the d4 and c3 pawns on the long dark square diagonal. After knight to f3, black plays c5, the key Gruenfeld move. Black allows white to gain a strong center in order to attack it. Notice white cannot take the c5 pawn, because then black would play bishop takes c3, regaining the pawn and forking the king and rook. The plans for both sides in the Gruenfeld are clear. White will defend the center and at some point push the central pawns up the board, trying to create a passed pawn. Black will continue to place pressure on white's center especially the d4 square. Gruenfeld games can often be very tactical, where one false step can end the game quickly. One more opening that is seen from time to time is the risky Dutch defense. Black plays f5, controlling the e4 square. This opening is considered very risky because it does not develop a piece and opens up Black's king on the e8 to h5 diagonal. Black hopes to gain a kingside attack and is willing to risk king's safety in order to attack. A simple way to handle the position for white is to play g3. In the Queen's Gambit, we mentioned white's light-squared bishop usually develops to the d3 square to enjoy the open diagonal. Notice that f5 blocks white's bishop if it tries to move to the d3 square, so white will often place the bishop on the long light-squared diagonal, h1 to a8. After knight f6 and bishop to g2, white will simply castle kingside when black's weakened king position may cause trouble in the middle game for black. Now that you've learned many of the common d4 openings, it's time to test your knowledge.
Boy, it's going to be tough because the Nimzo, I am not really. I played against it, I just don't recognize it. And of course, the Dutch, I don't think I've ever seen anybody play that against me. I don't know, maybe. For black's most popular alternative to d5 and play knight f6. Okay.
White is typically ready to play knight c3 and e4. Let's plan to meet knight c3 with bishop b4, the Nimzo Indian defense. How do we prepare moving our dark squared bishop to b4? Nice work. Black is prepared to pin white's knight and enter the Nimzo Indian defense. Let's play that move. You got it. Let's control the h1-a8 diagonal by moving our light-squared bishop to that long diagonal. How do we prepare this idea? White is ready to take over the center with 6. Fantastic. Notice black does not have any pawns in the center, but black's pieces control the center from a distance. A very interesting concept.
Well, I have a challenge. I will be doing them after lessons. There'll be Maj, thank you for challenging, but I'm going to wait until after the lessons tonight. Take them. Thank you, though. Right in the middle of this lesson.
Can you find a bishop capture that will force a doubling of white's pawns? Excellent. Black doubles white's pawns on the c-file in exchange for the bishop pair. Can you find a pawn move that controls the e5 and c5 squares, puts another pawn on the dark squares, and prepares a future e5 pawn break? Nice try, but this does not move a pawn to a dark square that controls the center and prepares to play e5. Try again.
Can you find a pawn move that controls the e5 and c5 squares? Oh, the e5 and c5.
Excellent job.
My bad.
Black adds another pawn to the dark squares, limiting the power of white's dark squared bishop. Black is planning to play knight bd7 and e5, as white prepares to gain more space in the center with e4. Play the move that prepares to develop the f8 bishop to g7. Nice work. Let's explore the King's Indian by moving. Great job. White is gaining space in the center and may attack our knight with e5. Let's play a pawn move that protects. Excellent job. d6 protects the e5 square, supporting a future e5 pawn break to attack white's strong center, the key strategy in the King's Indian defense. Black is ready to attack the center with the Key King's Indian pawn break, e5. Let's play this energetic move. White takes more space in the center, but has given up control of c5. Can you find a way to add more pressure to the e? Great job. Black's knight jumps into the c5 square and adds pressure to White's center. White is ready to play b4 and kick out this excellently placed knight. How do you prevent this idea? Great job. Black gains space on the queen side and prevents b4, allowing Black good chances in the upcoming middle game battle. Let's check out Black's aggressive counter-attacking opening, the Grunfeld defense. What is Black's central pawn strike that turns the opening into the Grunfeld defense?
That's where I forgot. What is a black central pawn strike that turns the opening into the Grunfeld defense? Yeah.
Great job. Black allows White to take over the center with pawns in order to counterattack these pawns. White gets 2 pawns directly in the center, but Black, great job. White has a strong center, but now both sides are making strong moves to fight for the center. Can you find Black's key pawn strike that attacks the d4 pawn? White could win a pawn on e5, or play this very annoying move, preventing Black from castling. Can you find another pawn move that attacks d4? You got it. Black adds more pressure to the d4 pawn, and White plays a strong move defending d4. Can you develop another minor piece and add more pressure to d4?
Of course, I get another challenge. Not going to take those challenges with lessons going on. Now, what did I miss? Black adds more pressure. You got it. Black adds more pressure to the pinned d4 pawn, and White plays a strong move defending d4. Can you develop another minor piece and add more pressure to d4?
Excellent job. Black increases the pressure against White's center. White has many interesting moves to protect the center, including queen d2 or rook c1. A sharp battle lies ahead. Black has played the risky Dutch defense. Can you find a strong plan to develop your light-squared bishop to the h1a8 diagonal? Excellent work. Let's move the light. Great work. White's bishop is on an excellent diagonal and allows White a solid game against the risky Dutch defense.
Okay, openings that have sacrifices.
Sometimes giving up a pawn or two can accelerate development and create a sharp game. This is risky, but can lead to great attacking play.
Okay. They're usually in five lesson sequences, so that's what I'm going to do tonight. Thank you, guys. Ad starts in 57 seconds. Thank you for watching. Appreciate it. We'll start it out.
One of the most exciting, as well as dangerous opening strategies are gambits. The gambit player often sacrifices 1 or 2 pawns,
Hope they
or
show the
even at
Scotch
times
gambit.
an entire piece, to rip open lines and try to gain a huge lead in development to overwhelm the opponent with an irresistible attack.
I want to pause this for just a second. Hey, Princess, you're okay. Yeah, you're a good girl. I just want to turn on the lights. Take a quick bio. I'll be right back. You're fine. All right. Okay. Sorry about that. Thank you all. Okay, let's.
A gambit is like a gamble. If it works, the gambit player often wins quickly. But if the gambit fails and the defense holds, the gambit player can simply have a bad position and even enter a losing endgame where the missing material decides the game. Let's take a look at some examples of gambit play. After e4, e5, and f4, this opening is known as the king's gambit. White gambits the f-pawn, allowing e takes f4, in order to gain more central control with d4.
This actually
White also
kills
hopes
me
to
most
take
of the
advantage of not having a white pawn on the f-file
This will
to
be
use
good.
that file to attack with rooks and a queen later in the game. The king's gambit is risky, not only because it sacrifices a pawn, but it also opens up white's king to possible attack on the e1
Got
to
another
h4
challenge.
diagonal.
Not getting it. Keep
After
doing
accepting
that.
the gambit pawn, black is already threatening queen h4 check, so white typically plays knight to f3, developing a piece and protecting the h4 square from attack. White's goal is to develop quickly and set up an attack before black can complete development. If white succeeds, white will often win with quick attacks. If white is unable to break through black's position, black will often be up material, have a safer king, and enjoy a better position. Another gambit for white that sacrifices even more material is known as the Danish gambit. It begins after d4. After e takes d4, white offers another pawn with c3. After d takes c3, white develops with bishop c4, offering another pawn. After c takes b2 and bishop b2, white has sacrificed two pawns to open the long dark square diagonal a1 to h8. And white now has two bishops already developed and pointing toward black's kingside. White's pawn on e4 also controls good central space, so black must be careful as black does not have any pieces developed. As black is so far behind in development, one popular plan is to return at least one of the gambit pawns with d5. This opens up black's light-squared bishop, and it also attracts white's bishop to d5, where it will later be attacked by knight f6. This will help black catch up in development. It's important to remember that when you play against a gambit and accept material, one effective strategy is to return some of the material to catch up in development and slow down your opponent's attack. Since e takes d5 would block the light-squared bishop's attack on black's weak f7 square, and queen takes d5 would offer a trade of queens, usually not a good way to continue in attack, white usually plays bishop takes d5. And after knight f6, black's first piece is developed. Notice that black's king is overworked. It is protecting both the f7 square and the queen on d8. White has the nice deflection tactic, bishop takes f7 check. This is why gambit play can be so dangerous. When your opponent gains a lead in development, these tactics often appear. It turns out, however, that black has not blundered, because black has a clever trick prepared after king takes f7 and queen takes d8. Black loses a queen for the moment, but notice that the white queen is lined up with black's bishop and rook.
Check.
Can you find a discovered attack that regains the queen for black? That's right. After bishop b4 check, black's bishop checks the king and reveals the rook's attack on white's queen. White's best move is to play queen to d2, gaining more material before the doomed queen leaves the board. After bishop takes d2 check, knight takes d2, and rook e8. The wild gambit play has settled down, where both sides have equal material in this queenless middle game. Not all opening gambits are played by white. After the moves d4, knight f6, and c4, black can play the Budapest gambit with the move e5. This move opens up lines for the dark squared bishop and queen and also attacks white's center. If white wants to fight for an opening advantage, white should accept the Budapest gambit with d takes e5. Accepting the gambit and attacking black's knight. Black now focuses on attacking the e5 pawn, starting with knight to g4. After bishop f4, knight c6, and knight f3, both sides have been developing pieces to fight for the e5 square. After bishop to b4 check, white can play knight to c3, letting black capture the knight and double white's pawns, or play knight b to d2. This is a solid move for white, but white must be on the alert for one deadly tactical trick that black will try. After queen to e7, black adds a third attacker to e5 and also lines up with white's king on the e-file. A simple way to play for white is to play e3, bishop e2, and castle kingside, returning black's gambit pawn on e5. Like most other gambit lines that black can play, white should have the better chances by developing sensibly and staying alert for tricks. But sometimes white plays a3, trying to unpin the knight on d2. Black now has the surprising knight g takes e5, completely ignoring white's threat. White will still be just fine after knight takes e5 and playing e3. But if white insists on capturing black's bishop with a takes b4, black can now win the game in one move. Can you see how?
d3, knight to
That's
d3.
right, with the smothered mate, knight to d3 check. The pawn on e2 is pinned, and the king is smothered by its own pieces. You've now learned some typical gambit openings and ideas, so now it's your turn to test out your gambit knowledge.
All right. Find the pawn move that attacks e5 and creates the king's gambit. God, I hate this move. I lose to this all the time. Notoriously over the years.
White gambits the pawns, and black accepts the pawn.
So I should take it.
Black is ready to play the annoying queen h4 check. How can white develop a knight and prevent this move? Nice work. Black has many moves, including the very sharp and dangerous g5, or play for quick development with the solid d5. Danger and excitement lies ahead.
Yeah, it's a crazy gambit.
Let's find an idea that returns a pawn to open lines for development, and slows down white by attacking the light-squared bishop. Great work! Black slows down white's attack and opens up a diagonal for black's light-squared bishop. Has black blundered? No. Let's capture white's bishop and enter the complications.
I've actually lost this way and resigned and didn't see that I could check.
It looks like black is in trouble, but can you find a check? Excellent move. White is forced to find that black has survived the opening complications with a balanced position. Let's develop our rook and add pressure to white's center. Nice work. After the position has settled, black has a very solid game with even chances. Can you find a central pawn strike that attacks white's e4 pawn? Excellent. Black decides to attack white's center and avoid accepting the gambit. Now let's recapture our pawn on d5. Nicely done. Black's queen adds pressure to white's center. Let's develop quickly and attack white's d4 pawn at the same time. Great job. White adds another defender to the d4 pawn. How can we attack that defender, pinning it to the queen? You got it. Black develops another piece and adds pressure to white's knight on f3. Don't stop making great developing moves. How can we develop another piece and pin this? Great job. Black actively develops and gains good play against white's d4 pawn, so declining gambits can also be strong. Let's play 2, c4, and see how black will reply. Black plays the Budapest Gambit. If we don't accept the pawn, Black gets a solid game. Let's challenge the Gambit and accept. Black moves the knight and attacks our e5 pawn. There are plenty of good moves, but let's develop a bishop and protect the e5 pawn. Black continues to add pressure to the e5 pawn. How can we develop a knight and protect our e5 pawn? Great work! White has a solid position against Black's risky Budapest Gambit. Let's look at this position again after some more moves have been played. Black has continued to add pressure to the e5 pawn. Let's consider two moves, 7, e3, or 7, a3. Which move is best?
E3 or A3?
Great work! White plays the solid 7. Nice try.
Oh,
but this
fuck.
does not safely develop our light-squared bishop into the game. Try again.
Oh, I didn't read it. Can continue to develop and castle to safety. Let's develop our light square bishop and prepare the castle. Shit. Alrighty.
Nice work. White returned the pawn,
My
but
fault.
Black had to spend time to regain it. White has greater control of the center with a comfortable position.
Okay, I see.
How can White take advantage of an open file and punish Black's poor development?
How can White take advantage of an open file and punish Black's poor development?
Great job. Black is prevented from castling. Now let's recover our material with a winning position. Black is able to block lines and start developing the extra material. Try again.
Oh, shit.
This is also completely winning. Great job. Let's look at the position after bishop take. Great job. Black is prevented from castling.
My
Great
bad.
work. Black's queen is forced to step into a pin. Nice job. This is also a strong move. Can you find a strong capture you can play before taking Black's queen? Great work. Black's queen is forced to
Guess
step
I
into
should
a
have read
pin.
it.
We can take Black's queen, but can you find another capture to play first? Great patience. White
Damn.
captures the bishop
Screwed
first,
up on that. I'll
and
have
Black's
to
queen is
go
still
back
pinned.
and watch
White
that
will capture
again.
the queen on the next turn with a winning position.
My bad. My bad. Damn it. Okay, I got 2 left to this. Gambits and traps can be dangerous opening weapons.
Everyone should know a few opening traps so they don't lose the game in the first few moves. Learn some traps to watch out for.
I really like these lessons, by the way. That's why I have a diamond membership. I really recommend it. You know, any membership. to be
One of
able
the
to
worst
play these.
feelings in chess is when you fall for an opening trap that your opponent has prepared before the game. You find yourself in a bad or even losing position before you have time to get your pieces developed and start playing chess. Let's take a look at some of the most common opening traps you can use to gain a quick advantage against unprepared opponents, as well as learn how to avoid falling into traps yourself. Sometimes, a player decides to defend by copying the opponent's moves. The player thinks if a move is good enough for one side, it should be good enough for the other side. Is that true? Let's take a look.
Not in
After
Petrov's.
e4, e5, knight f3, and knight f6,
There it
white
is.
plays knight takes e5.
The best known
Both
trap.
sides have been playing the same moves. Now, if black plays d6 before capturing the pawn on e4, this is known as the main line of the Petrov defense,
Yeah,
or
and that's what
Russian
you
game,
need to do.
with a solid position for black.
Been playing Petrov
If
since
black is only copying,
1973.
then black will jump into the center immediately with knight takes e4.
Mistake.
Black is now in trouble, as the e-file has been cleared of pawns, so white can play queen to e2,
Yep.
attacking black's knight. The copycat strategy fails after queen e7, and queen takes e4.
Right.
Unless black wants to take the copying strategy to the extreme and lose a queen after queen takes e5, black's only way to stay in the game is to play d6,
Yeah.
attacking white's knight, which is pinned to the queen. White can simply play d4, and after d takes e5, and d takes e5, white is simply up a pawn with a better position.
Yep.
If black tries to avoid going down a pawn, black may try d5, protecting the knight. After d3,
Push.
black is on the edge of disaster.
Yep.
If black retreats the knight, say with knight f6, white can win black's queen by force. Can you see how?
C6
That's right, with knight to c6,
by the queen.
discovering the queen's check against black's king and attacking the black queen.
1973.
Notice that if the black queen tries to block the check with queen e7, white still wins
Still
the queen
gets it.
with knight takes e7. After d3, black's best try is queen to e7.
1973, I played in the USAF tournament, beat in 1930, I think. Played white. I think my clock had 13 seconds on it. This same position. And took his queen, resigned. I've won 2 tournament games with that trap. Most people don't fall for it now because they know, but that was 1973, and I was one of the few high school players playing Petrovs, and I played somebody that was in his 30s, a European player that was really, really good. And I don't know why he followed it, because he showed my second board that exact trap when we were waiting for the third round, and my second board came to me, Jerry came to me, you gotta see this trap, you gotta see this trap. So I said, can you show him to me? Show it to me 3 or 4 times. And I got white, and so I did it, and he fell right into it, and he lost his queen. After he showed Jerry, who showed me, yeah, it was crazy. Crazy. I'll never forget it. All sorts of weird stuff happens in chess
E7.
sometimes.
Counterattacking white's knight. After d takes e4 and queen takes e5, white still wins a pawn
Yes.
after e takes d5. Notice that black's queen cannot
Cannot
capture
take
the
it.
pawn on d5 because it is pinned to the king. This is why copying your opponent is not a good idea. Let's take a look at another opening trap. After e4, c6, black plays the Caro-Kann defense.
Yep.
And after the typical moves d4, d5, knight to c3, and d takes e4, white recaptures, knight takes e4, and black plays knight to d7. Black's idea is to support knight g to f6, so that if white tries to capture that knight, black is prepared to recapture with another knight. White plays the strange-looking queen e2. This is not a great move, as it blocks in the light-squared bishop, but it does set up a deadly trap. If black develops without understanding the point behind white's last move and plays knight g to f6, white can actually win the game in one move. Do you see it? That's right.
D6.
Knight to d6. It's a smothered mate. White's queen is pinning the pawn to the king, and all of black's pieces smother the black king so it cannot escape. What should black have done instead? Black can simply play e6, opening up the dark squared bishop and preventing any chance of a smothered mate. Now white's queen on e2 looks misplaced,
Yeah, it's a
which
problem.
is why opening traps that only hope your opponent doesn't find the best move should not be played. One thing to remember is to only play an opening trap when it improves your position, even if your opponent doesn't fall for the trap. Otherwise, you are just playing hope chess. Let's take a look at a trap in the Queen's Gambit declined. After d4, d5, c4, and e6, the Queen's Gambit declined. After the typical moves knight to c3, knight to f6, and bishop to g5, white pins black's knight. Black usually plays bishop to e7 in order to unpin the knight, but sometimes black plays the tricky knight b to d7, setting up a trap. Notice that the black queen is no longer protecting d5 now that there's a knight in the way. So white thinks a pawn can be won by taking advantage of black's pin knight on f6. After c takes d5, e takes d5. White should now play e3 or knight to f3. But it looks like white can just win a pawn with knight takes d5, because the f6 knight looks like it's pinned to the queen. Well, it is pinned to the queen, but that doesn't stop black from playing the surprising knight takes d5.
Yeah.
After bishop takes d8,
Bishop B4.
notice that white's king only has one square available, d2. Do you see black's idea? That's right. After bishop b4 check, white is forced to block the check with the queen. And after bishop takes d2 and king takes d2, black plays king takes d8. Notice that black has won a knight for a pawn. In the Queen's Gambit, it's important to know that it's not really a gambit being an opening in which one side sacrifices a pawn or more material for an attack. Because after d takes c4, although the most aggressive move is e4, grabbing more space in the center and threatening to recapture the pawn on c4, sometimes white prefers e3. Black's best idea is to focus on developing the kingside pieces and castling. Sometimes, black is tempted to hold on to the c4 pawn with b5. Black is in for a surprise. After a4, white attacks the defender of the c4 pawn, b5. And after c6, white can play a takes b5. And after c takes b5, notice that now that the pawn is no longer on c6, the h1 to a8 diagonal has been opened. Can you find a way for white to take advantage of these weak light squares and win a piece? That's right, queen to f3. White threatens to win the rook on a8. Black's best defense is to give up a knight for free after knight c6. So after queen takes c6 check, black can play bishop to d7, attacking the white queen and revealing the black queen's protection of the a8 rook. White is up an entire piece, so this shows the risk of trying to hold on to the c4 pawn in the Queen's Gambit. Now it's your turn to practice setting up, as well as avoiding opening traps.
In this Scandinavian defense, let's develop a piece and gain a tempo against the black's queen. Boy, I play against Scandinavian all the time. Is he going to go mainline or is he going to go... How did this come up? We didn't even discuss Scandinavian. Is he going to go mainline or is he going to go Mises Kotrick?
Good move.
Mises
Black's queen now
Kotrick.
retreats to d8. A strong move is 4.
Let's play it a
d4,
tricky way.
but let's play in a tricky way with 4. Bishop c4. Once again, we can take over the center with d4, but let's set up a trap with 5. Knight f3. Great job. White can play d4 on the next turn, but black falls into the trap with this natural-looking move. Can you find a forcing move that wins material for white? Great move. This is also a powerful idea for white after 7. Bishop takes e6, ruining black's structure with a strong attack to follow. Can you find a tactical shot that wins material immediately for white? Great job! White can play d4 on the next turn, but black falls into the trap with this natural-looking move. Can you find a forcing move that wins material for white?
Probably not. Yeah, but doesn't that lose? I mean, it's not this, is it?
Nice try, but this is not a forcing move that wins material for white. Try again. Not
I have no idea. I have no idea. I never played this. I have no idea. I thought it was here. Don't help.
not
Have no clue. I do not see it at all. Crazy.
not 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 not
I am trying all the moves. I don't know. Have no freaking idea. I don't know.
not
I thought it was here. That was my first move. Thought it was this.
Great move. This is also a powerful idea. Great job. White can play d4 on the next turn, but black falls into the trap with this natural-looking move. Excellent decision.
Fuck.
Black's king is exposed. Let's complete the combination. Wonderful work. White
Damn it.
destroyed black's king safety
Finally saw
and will
it.
capture black's bishop on the next turn, going up a pawn with a great position.
Didn't see it. Man, I got slaughtered in that one.
Can you find a pawn capture that sets up a deadly trap? Great job. If black captured the c5 pawn, white was ready to trade queens with a strong position. Black's knight falls directly into the trap by capturing the e4 pawn. Play the move that wins this piece by force. You got it. White wins the knight with this double attack.
Yeah, they're showing stuff they didn't show me in the thing.
Let's play the tricky move knight b
Ouch.
d7, setting up a trap for white.
Let's play a tricky move, knight bd7. Knight bd7.
Black's knight blocks the queen's protection of the d5 pawn, so white jumps at the chance to win a pawn. Let's recapture the pawn.
First this way.
White happily takes the pawn and falls into it. Brilliant. Black sacrifices the queen for a moment, But what forcing move can you play? Great work. Let's capture white's queen. You got it. Now let's capture white's bishop. Fantastic play.
Okay.
Black's trap, after all of the tricky captures, leaves black up a piece for a pawn. In this Caro-Kann position, let's play the popular and very tricky move 4, h4. White grabs space on the king side and sets up a trap. Instead of moving the h-pawn, black blunders with e6, falling into the trap. Find white's best move. Nice try, but there is a much stronger move. Knight.
Oh boy.
Knight.
Yeah, I have no fucking clue. Have to go back to these, I guess. Damn it.
Great job. Black's light-squared bishop can run, but it can't hide from your pawns. Black's bishop attacks the rook on h1. You are becoming a clever player. Great work. Black's bishop is trapped.
Ouch.
In this opening known as the two knights tango, Black's knight is under attack.
Let's
Let's
play
play the main move, knight e5. White quickly plays e4. Did white overlook that the e4 pawn is unprotected, or is it a trap? Choose between two moves, e6 or knight takes e4.
What's the trap? You're gonna. That's a trap. It would be this one.
Great decision. Knight takes e4, 5. Queen d4 loses a piece, so attacking white's strong center is necessary. Even though black didn't fall for the opening trap, white still has a strong position, the sign of a good opening trap. Black just played a5, thinking that the pinned pawn could have to be defended by the weak 4. c3 move. Let's surprise black by playing 4, c4. Black happily captures the pawn, not understanding the point of c4. Can you find a pawn trap that tries to lure black's queen to c5? Great job. Black should have played queen. Great job. White
I saw
attacks black's
that.
queen and discovers the
1
a1
out of
rook
8 ain't
attack
bad.
on black's a8 rook,
Ouch.
winning one of these two pieces on
Ouch,
the next
ouch, ouch.
turn. Great work learning how to set and avoid traps.
Okay, and this would be you completed key openings, okay? With all these choices, how do you choose a move? Okay, and that's the next one. I'm getting a little tired, so let's do challenges or puzzles. I think that's good for today. Get one sequence of them done. How do you choose a move? Yeah, I think we'll save this till Wednesday. Thank you all for watching me do the lessons, and I hope you enjoyed them. That's why I have the membership, to get those lessons, to get those puzzles. So hope you enjoyed them as much as I did. Boy, that last one was tough. I didn't have any idea on a couple of them. I do now, but now that I saw it, but gotta have repetition and just keep remembering. Yeah, Evan, go ahead. Go ahead and send me a challenge. You're up. What do you mean you can't? You can, but you can't. What's up? Can I play you now? I can't. Did you go to Friends? I just added you, so you should be here. I just added you. Where are you? Kind of rather go to 10-0, but we're good. This is what I prefer anyway. Have a good game. Yeah. Yeah, I don't like a knight versus that's too bad. Let's see here. I'd rather have the knight in this position. It's a good move. You wouldn't want to do that. This is a follower challenge on my Twitch. And thank you. H1 Chess is raiding with a party at 28 during a challenge. Oh my God, H1, you rock. Prehistoric 241. It's a raid. Woohoo! Potser Gamer, thank you so much. H1, you rock, man. You really do. Really appreciate you. Appreciate your channel. And you've got great content. If you haven't seen H1, big shout out to him. H1 Chess on Twitch, also on YouTube's got 1 million viewers now, 1 million subs on YouTube. The big play button in the background. Thank you, H1. Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much. I sure will. Hope you had a great stream tonight, too. Thank you, everybody, for following. That is Fame's Niche. Fame's Niche, thank you. Prehistoric, thank you. And, of course, Potser Gamer. He's been in my prize arenas, and he rocks. Great mod for H1 Chess. Thank you so much, H1. I appreciate you, man. In a challenge against a viewer. And thank you all for coming in. I very much appreciate it. Thank you for the follows, too. Means a lot. Hope you have a great night, H1. And you know I'm going to try to pay back the favor with my 1 or 2 followers. Will come in and raid you. But I very much appreciate it, man. And I try to do it every week. So thank you so much. Thank you, Potser. Thank you, Prehistoric. You guys have a great night. And I better make a move here. My opponent's playing way fast and way accurate. So let's see what we got. Got a feeling. I really do. Well, let's see what happens here. Okay. Thank you all for coming in. Appreciate it. You rock, man. How are you guys doing? You guys doing good? Hey. Wonder if I should allow that knight in. The pawn's tied up, so wonder. I'm gonna get out of that pin that way. I think we'll go here. I was good to go backwards. I might be in trouble. Okay. Thank you all for coming in. H1, big shout out. H1 Chess, man. Great content. YouTube streamer. I remember congratulating him on his 1 million subs on YouTube. Pretty amazing. Love his content. Going all the time. I wish I could beat him so I could make him do push-ups, but I'm an old man. I'm going to need more than that. Guaranteed. He's a great player as well. So thank you, H1, as well as Potzer Gamers come into my prize arenas last year and just rocked. Potzer's a great player as well, great moderator. Really appreciate Potzer and H1. Bray Historic, nice to see you. Thank you guys for the raid. If you guys want to follow, I do arenas for anybody but my player base, as well as multi-streaming on YouTube. I'm going to put up the Discord if you guys like to get in there. You know, if H1 ever wants me to announce one of his arenas, I will do that and be happy to do it. This is the Discord, and it is Wizardry and Chess. I've been playing Wizardry at 11 o'clock in the mornings, every morning. Wizardry Variants Daphne. I'm an original Wizardry player on an Apple II Plus. It was the first RPG with graphics that came out in 1981 on an Apple II Plus. I played it on a trash 80 monitor. That's what we fondly called it back then. It was a color monitor by Radio Shack. And I took my green monitor, the Apple II Plus. There was also, let's see, what was the other one? Commodore 64 on TV. They also had Wizardry. But, man, it was expensive. And I bought the Apple II Plus. I was 25 years old. Guy said, man, you got to play this game. It's freaking amazing. And so I played Proving Grounds, the reboot. And it actually shows the old interface in the bottom right corner. I do it every Monday. And we got an ad starting. But the love my Wizardry. So here's my primary channel. And that is chess. And that is my first love. My second love, Wizardry. And if you haven't seen Wizardry Variants Daphne, it came out for PC this March. And it is crazy good. Yes, it's a gotcha game, but it's not like any gotcha you've ever seen. This game is legit. Great storyline. If you're a gamer, check it out. Also, Wizardry was the first game with permadeath in it. That's right, you heard me first, permadeath. And it was unforgiving. Wizardry's always been the dungeon master. But the problem is we have floppies, and we had save disks, so we get around it. Also, in Wizardry Variants Daphne, those people are going, it's got permadeath. What if I bought a character I really like? It's a legendary, I want it, and it dies. You just keep the fortitude up, put it in the guild for 6 hours or a day. There's so many characters that are all playable. It's amazing. The voice acting's fantastic. The animations are fantastic. But you get around it by just getting the fortitude up, taking it to temple, Srazed. Unless you believe in the Darwin Awards, and you absolutely do it on purpose. That's the only way that you'll ever experience permadeath in Wizardry. Running my time down, I am sorry. Let me get this straight here. I just want to get this. And there is my YouTube channels. And on Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday at 7 o'clock, I run these arenas. They're for you. I host them. They're unrated. I do the live stream, host, and I do the sports commentary. I was on the radio for 9.5 years. So I do that for you. Anybody can play. Just play fair. Don't come in and just smoke people for free medal. Have some fun. Enjoy it. And we get a lot of people playing in them. So Tuesday night, for love of the game, it'll be a rapid this week at 7. And we've got an ad break. Of course, nobody can hear me. So let me see here. Let me go through it. And we'll wait for a minute. Okay. And 26 seconds on the ad. Thank you all for coming in tonight. Thanks for watching. Chess every night at 6:30. I don't know if you guys can hear me or not, but we got an ad break in 8 seconds. So, man, you're just thinking ahead, aren't you? Thinking ahead. Seeing where I'm going. He might not do that. Let's see here. Let's pull it this way. Thank you for coming in tonight. Another shout out to H1. Tuesday night for Love of the Game starts at 6:30. I put the link up in my Twitch chat. And at 7 o'clock for Love of the Game, it'll be a rapid 10-0 unrated. Please play fair. Don't just come in to rock a medal for free and just smoke everybody. But I do the hosting. I do the sports casting. And I was on the radio for 9.5 years of my life, so I really enjoy it. I think the people that play them enjoy it. And that is every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock. They rotate. It just so happens it's a rapid this week. Friday night blitz at 7 p.m. That's Pacific Standard Time, Oregon Coast. Saturday night rapid, Sunday night freestyle, Chess 960. All unrated. If you've never played Chess 960, Fisher Random, Chess Freestyle, that's the time to learn. And I try to make you guys a star. So come in, play fair policy on me, as well as when I'm showing all the games, going game to game to game in the first half hour, then to the leaderboard, and then to the quality games. No matter if it's beginner, intermediate, or advanced, I try to get those close elos in the last 30 minutes, then key on the leaders. But as I go through it, the whole premise is I cannot give position away when I'm talking about it. So I try to give some color of you guys playing in those arenas. I hope you enjoy them. And 4 nights a week I do it for you. So if you'd like to follow, or if you'd like to play them, come on in. 7 p.m. Tuesday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I think you might like them. And also, if H1 ever wants to have me do his, be glad to do the announcing for it. So thank you so much, H1, for coming in. Thank you, Potzer. Thank you, Prehistoric. Really appreciate you guys. I'm going to play the rest of this game, and you don't have to give me seconds. Thank you so much. That is my fault. So let's see what we got. Apologize for delaying, DD Zaid. Edmund the Great in chat. Meet Edmund the Great. Thank you guys for coming in. Hope you all had a good night, man. H1 has some great content, I tell you that much. Really appreciate them. The other Potzer in the house. Potzer Gamer. Tactical Presence. What a great player. Moderator for H1. You guys stop talking, man. What the heck happened? Thank you so much. Appreciate you guys. This is going to be a little tough. Let's see here. Yeah, you're going to try to come that way. Yeah, you don't want me doing that. No doubt. No doubt. I might have let the cat out of the bag there. We will see. Hoping. Wizardry was an RPG that was made in 1981 called Wizardry of Proving Grounds of the Mad Overlord. It was an RPG Dungeons and Dragons type with the first graphics that ever went on a personal computer for Apple II Plus and Commodore. And it was vector line graphics. So each square of the dungeon had vector line graphics and an interface in the top left corner of the screen, and then the stats and everything, your 6 characters, and you run in the dungeon. House of Pancakes, what you doing? House of Pancakes with the raid, thank you so much. And so Wizardry was the first one ever to do it. At the time it was Zork 1, 2, 3, and it was they're all text-based. So we'd never seen graphics before like that. I was 25 years old, bought the Apple II Plus, and played the game. It was amazing. I got by it. It took a lot. There was no internet. And you had to type in answers for riddles and everything else. You would move one square at a time. The walls would move. It was all vector white line graphics. There would be this highly pixelated blob that would come up, and that was an encounter. And it was either like stick figure skeletons or like a little pile for slime or kobolds or what have you. But it was pretty interesting, and it was absolutely great. So, oh, I see that coming. I guess we got to move there. I am not going to get that, huh? Well, I wonder if I should let you go and do that. Let's force it. But anyway, it was awesome. Everything's going. Rose's house. Rose's baby. Hey, Peo, how you doing, man? Thanks for coming in. Potzer's here. H1 Chess was here. All his guys came in. Hey, I need some follows too. Come on, guys. Anyway, big shout out to H1 and House of Pancakes. From the beginning, when I started last year, these guys have had my back, and I very much appreciate it. And I try to rate them as much as I can. I don't have the viewer base, but I sure try to do it every chance I get. And I stay and watch, man. They've got some great freaking content. And House, man, he did me a solid. Got me over 500 viewers right before I had my year anniversary as an affiliate. So, House, man, you rock. And same with H1. H1 has done some raids that just unbelievable, that has really helped me, and I very much appreciate him. His content on YouTube, not only YouTube, but on Twitch, his teaching skills, his chess play, absolutely second to none. And I really, really appreciate both of these guys. Potzer Gamer, Tactical Presence, has been in my arenas and played him. I really appreciate when he plays, because he is a legit player, and really enjoy when he comes in. And so hats off to these guys. I very much thank you. And I know I'm going down to the last second here, but I think I'm in a little bit of trouble. Little bit of trouble. Probably just blew that too much. Gonna get checked. But thank you so much. Thank you, everybody. Thanks for those that come in and follow. I really appreciate you guys. And I will pay back the favor as I always do. I try to do my best. Knew I was going to lose that. I think we'll do it this way. Sorry, DD Zaid, for the extended talks. I appreciate you. Yeah, he is. He's very good. Plays really super fast, too. So, with Wizardry, so like I was saying to Potzer, Proving Grounds came out in 1981, and I played Knight of Diamonds 9 months after that, and Legacy of Lilligam. I got past all three. And then the fourth one, Return of Verdant, kind of sucked. And so, kind of blew. And so I just stopped playing it. Then Wizardry Online came in 2013, and I found out 2 months ago that there is a brand new Wizardry Variants Daphne. And, you know, chess is my first love. Wizardry is my second. I really enjoyed those games. We used to have Wizardry parties when I was 25, man. Guys, gals, sitting around this computer watching this move square by square, and all of a sudden it'd whirl the Apple II Plus, we'd hear this, and then these kobolds would appear, dragons would appear. I mean, it was really cool. Wizard Variants Daphne is pretty legit. I gotta say, people are saying it's a gotcha game because they do have microtransactions. The storyline is freaking in depth. You may think it's Search for the King. Once anybody gets through the first abyss, that's what they're thinking. But I tell you, everybody that has gone through that and what happens, whoever designed that, whoever came up with that idea is freaking brilliant. And it totally blows up and makes this amazing in-depth storyline. And then the voice acting is fantastic. It's made in Japan. I downloaded it from Steam for free, and I thought, man, it's gonna have like subtitles. You know, it's got it, right? Because Surtech was a U.S. company with two U.S. programmers that came up with it, and then they had a second company in Canada. And so with that, I downloaded it, put United States in. Dude, the voice acting is freaking amazing in multi-languages, and they're interactive, and the characters not only bitch at you, but they bitch at each other, and the monsters tell you to F off almost every time you fight them. I mean, it's crazy the depth of this game, and it is really fun. And so I played it for about 6-7 weeks now. Got to level 50, level 60 is the cap currently. And they have had a new engine that they put in because it came out on phone, Android, and iPhone in October, and then PC. If you do get PC or phone, make sure you link them. There's a link thing in settings, so you link them so if they do have a crash or something. But the interesting thing about it was that what's crazy is that playing on the PC, man, I'm having flashbacks of when I was 25, the nostalgia. The game is freaking fantastic. Really, really thrilled about it. And it's absolutely a great game. And this is a legit standalone game. And I just can't believe more streamers haven't shown it. You know, some of the top streamers, they just avoiding it because it's gotcha. Oh, it's got permadeath. How could that be? Well, you can get around it. And it's just an absolute fun. So fun for me. So I play at 11 o'clock every morning, and come on in and check it out if you're interested. It is pretty amazing. So I think, therefore I am, and that is not thinking. Guess we're gonna have a situation here. Running out of time. I'm running out of time. Time is not on my side. But thank you guys for coming in, man. H1 Chess, House of Pancakes. The top two. These guys rock. And then you gotta always shout out for Potzer. And Prehistoric. And Peel. Peel, I don't even know how to pronounce your name, but you rock, dude. Absolutely rock. I think it's Peel Hadras Chess. I think. I absolutely think. Going down in flames today in this challenge. Going down in flames. Thanks so much, everybody. Here's the Discord again. Just so you know, if you want to add, you want to talk about Wizardry, you want to talk about chess, anything, this is my Discord. And free invite, it's free. So this is the invite. There you go. It's brand new, by the way. What happened? Everything disappeared on me. Old man, send him right here. That ain't cool. All right, what am I doing? He's going to go around that way. It's going to be a tough one. Tough one. I knew it was going. We're running. He better run too. Better swing for the fences. I'm losing. Losing. Yep. Yep. That's a good move. Yeah, I don't want to do that. Let's see. Where I want to go. Okay. Down to the wire. Here we go. Yeah, that is. Yeah, that's a good move. Damn. Should I go? Yeah, I gotta take it. Oop. Hey. Good game. Holy crap. Man, you play well. Great game. Great game. GG, man. That was a tough one. Thank you for being patient. Thank you for adding time. I appreciate it. You didn't have to do that. Great game. Okay, we'll go over the review. And what's player
The
one?
game ended evenly, but you had some nice moves.
Let's go over it.
Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. This move fianchettos their bishop, placing it on a strong diagonal.
I don't usually do well against the ready.
That's quite an error. Now's your chance to capitalize on it.
I don't think I did. I did see the move, but I didn't make it.
There was one good move, and you took your time finding it. Good idea to take the outpost. They missed the right idea here. Makes your life much easier.
Yeah, I got a little lucky.
There was only one good move there,
But I blew it.
you overlooked it. This is the only move that works. They took your pawn for free. Their knight becomes less active on this square. Your better option was to set up a blockade. You captured that free pawn.
I got lucky to get these two pawns off.
You made a
there.
passed pawn, capturing your hanging pawn.
Only thing that saved me, I think. Yeah, I think that was the only thing that saved me in the end. It really did. Heck of a game, though.
You prevented your opponent from being able to force eventual checkmate.
Yeah, there's no way you could get in there.
Nice, you found a way to win a pawn.
Got lucky. Man, you're a good player, solid player, man. That was a great game. Very good. Thank you, Edmund. That was cool. DD Zaid, Edmund the Great, Edmund the Legend, Edmund in the house. He is right here. And he took it to me. Anybody else for a challenge tonight from chat? Really appreciate H1 and House. And you guys that watch them, I mean, what great channels. They are really cool people. And they're good people, and that's what's really cool about it. Really appreciate both of them. Big shout out. Also, Potzer Gamer, been really cool to me in the last year, so very much appreciate it. I usually only play people once because I want to make sure. We got a 15-10 here. I'd rather, I don't want to play a 15-10. I'd rather play faster, but we'll play the 15-10 out. This is a rated game against 697, so we'll go ahead and play it. I like to try to get people going, people in there to play. And playing against Sicilian, are we going to play against a dragon? What are we playing? Nope. Okay. Well, I do this anyway, probably to my chagrin. Yep. I don't know why I have another thing up. Okay, and that's going to go that way. Gonna block it that way. I think we're gonna be okay. Yeah, that's a good move. Go with power. Solid move. That was my bad. Looks like the 697 ain't a 697. Ouch. Yep. Damn. Was hoping you'd go for that. Get the bishop in there. Yeah, I'm in trouble. No doubt. God. Let's see, Thailand. How's everybody doing tonight? Thank you all for coming in. That made my night. Really did. Made my night. Well, heck, I am really in big trouble here. And I can't really get out of it, so... I think I am going to be pretty rocked. Yep. Yeah, that's bad. No time on the clock. Yep. Alrighty. Sheet. Yeah, gonna get reported for it too. Sorry, man. You're playing 95% here. There's no doubt in my mind. Yeah, that's why. Is this a? Yeah, of course. This is a rated game. Of course. Of course, this is a rated game. Oh well, that's what happens. Play it out the best we can. That's a good move. Oh well. Oops. I like how the guy's taunting me over here in the corner here with his brilliance and his. Man, that's a rough one. And that's why I lose Elo. Went down, already 200 points down in the last few months. Just getting rocked. Got beat by a 210 moves. Or was it 1648 USCF player? Gotta love chess.com. Oh well. I'm going to review this though. I want to make sure, because this is pretty brutal. Thanks for running out on my viewers too. Appreciate each one in the house doing something like this. I think I'm going to resign and just report. I think it's just obvious. Fuck me. Oh boy. Crazy. Come on, move the pawn. What are you doing? Good game, GG.
Not every game goes your way, but
Yep.
there are always some learning moments.
Okay. Thank you for the game, man.
Opening with the king's pawn controls the center and opens up the light-squared bishop and queen, often leading to sharp games. Knight f6 develops the knight and attacks the undefended e4 pawn. You allowed the opponent to win a pawn through a fork. You are going to lose your pawn to this fork. You overlooked a better way to block a check from the opposing queen, capturing your hanging pawn. You're going to end up losing a bishop. They found a way to win your bishop. They found a way to win material. Your opponent. This move still keeps their checkmate plan on track.
Well, that was a good game. Thank you. Thanks for watching tonight. And thanks for coming in, everybody. We're going to pay it forward with H1 and House of Pancakes followers that came in tonight. And we'll raid somebody else. And I think that after that game, I think that I'm done. Man, I'm tired of getting guys that are on Smurf accounts just smoking me. I really am. Anyway, thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. It kills the views. It kills my viewers. It kills me. And I'm an old man, man. That's just crazy. And I knew it was coming. I should have known. Every time I get anybody over 20 views, all of a sudden these stupid 600s, 200s, 300s come in. And it just wrecks it for everybody. And I just never liked that. I think that's just classless. Anyway, you guys have a great night. I'll go ahead and raid somebody. And you guys can watch some great content. Thank you all for coming in tonight. Sorry it ended this way. And that's the way it happens. And why is that not working? Who do we got? Okay, let's see who we got. Anybody I know. Thank you all for coming in. And nobody I know. Are you? Huh. Not really sure, but we'll try it. Thank you, Edmund. Thanks for coming in, everybody. Appreciate you. Hope you all have a great night. Thanks again, man. You guys rock. You too, bots. Hope that's a correct rating. Tell you, Potts, gotta love Smurfs, don't you? Crazy. Okay, you guys have a great night. See you later. I'm going to be on Wizardry at 11 o'clock, and boy, did that suck. That was just horseshit. See you guys.